my face on the telly. You see my face on the you see my face on the telly.
Hello. And welcome to So Much to Talk About. I'm your host, Butterfly Mush. And today we are going to talk about the Ring of Fire. You guys know what the Ring of Fire is? Gary, you know what the Ring of Fire is? Yeah, we're going to talk about, I'm going to tell y'all about a quick story about the Ring of Fire. Okay. Oh, it's hot. Let's see what. Yeah, this is going to be weird grabbing this fucking mug. I'm going to have to do the design the other way. Let's see what today's tea message, the tea of the day is. Trust no bitch. I swear to God. Swear to fucking God. Yo, celestial seasonings? Trust no bitch. I like that. Oh, wow. Trust no bitch. Okay. Wow, this is hot. All right, where are we at? What are we doing? What are we talking about? What's happening? Oh my God, we have so much to talk about. How's my hair? Oh, you got yourself a little soda too?
Mm-hmm. You know, trust no bitch.
Trust no bitch. I'd love a soda. You know what it is? Like, tea at first. Ooh, that sounds so good. Tea at first is like too fucking hot. Thank you. And then it's like, I can't drink it right away. But then I'm thirsty. So then I need like a little bit of soda. Okay. What?
Laughing at the tea.
I don't want him to see the secret. All right. Like, in another world. I mean, when am I not in another world? You know? But right now I'm in another world. Just kind of need to like adjust my shit. You like my new necklaces?
Which one?
These two.
Well, you showed me the Buddha one, right?
Yeah, so I got these at this amazing place in the city called Sun Wind. I love it. It's in Chinatown, and shout out to Sun Wind because you go there and the store it's in Chinatown, like off Broadway, like right before Canal. And it says, Sun Wind, accessorize your spirit. I mean, yo, this fucking cat.
Accessorize your spirit.
I guess that's what the cat is into right now. It's accessorizing his spirit. So Sunwind, it says accessorize your spirit, and you go in and they have all these beautiful crystals and necklaces, and the woman, which I forget her name because I just call her Sunwind because she's so beautiful. She specializes in chakra healing and chakra aligning. And so this necklace that I'm wearing here with the beads is a chakra aligning vibe. And the blue Buddha is for the throat chakra to help with communication and to help you speak the truth. And I was like, oh my God, guess what I need? It's funny because she was like, oh, that's what this Buddha is for, communication and your throat chakra and opening up your throat chakra. And I was like, oh, funny you would say that, because I have a talk show and what I need right now is help opening up my throat chakra. So that's what this beautiful blue Buddha is. And these are tourmaline. No, I don't know what they are. You know what? I'm not a crystal expert, even though I have a million crystals in the house. But the necklace has like a whole other crystals that are for a whole other intention. I think it was like bravery to speak your truth or something. I can't remember, but I was like, I need it. And then I also got a ring that is supposed to help with manifesting. And your hand, the word manifesting comes from mano, which is like hands. So you put it out into the universe, or you make it, like you're literally making it from your mouth out. You should speak closer to the mic when you speak.
Not about a girl.
Gary's testing out his new sexy mic. Thumbs up if you like it. Okay. Since we last spoke, stop showing me that sign. I've seen it. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I was just going to. You know what? I'm going to just regrouping I'm aligning my chakras right now. But what I was going to tell you guys was that since we last spoke, I don't know if you saw my stories, but you should watch my stories, like I said before. But since we last spoke, and if you watched episode 1, the oracle advice that I gave that day was to a young lady from Puerto Rico who was getting mixed signals from a man that would travel to see her. And the first thing I said was, I'm getting Sagittarius vibes. And sure fucking enough, she DM'd me and she confirmed that I was in fact correct. And that this man was a Sagittarius, and also that she broke up with him and moved on. And that makes me so happy to hear, because honestly, I'm just glad that she saw herself for what she's worth and was like, you know what? I deserve better. Bye-bye. That's literally what she said. She was like, bye-bye. So I'm glad. I was like, yes, girl. Talk about it. Oh, now it's good. It's the perfect temperature. So yeah, I'm getting pretty good at so do I have to turn it every single time? I'm getting pretty good at accurately guessing people's zodiac signs when I'm getting the oracles. But you should tell me what the zodiac signs are because it helps. And if you know the sun and rising and moon signs, for sure. I have something in my eye. Oh my God. I think I have like a piece of an eyelash. Oh. Shit.
You all right?
Probably not. You think it's a brain tumor? Okay. Oh, you know what I was going to talk about, or what I was going to tell you? So today we aired episode 3, but right now I'm recording episode 4. And, in episode 3, I kind of briefly talked about my Twitter stint. And you know how I have recently gone back to Twitter after years of terrible tweets. And then the one tweet that was very memorable was my feud with the breastfeeding mamas and how they came for me for saying that breastfeeding was disgusting. And like, I just want to clarify that this was almost 15 years ago. And, you know, I had no clue about breastfeeding. I just, you know, I mean, I knew what breastfeeding was, but I didn't comprehend how beneficial it was for mother and baby. I didn't like know anything about the benefits of, you know, what it does for your bonding between mother and baby. Breastfeeding helps with, after you give birth, like it helps your uterus to contract back to its original size. I mean, there are so many benefits to it, and it just goes to show you how amazing the human body is, that everything is like perfectly designed. Like I remember the first time I started, well, when I like first breastfed ever, which was Ryder, and he had like a hard time with it. After, like, as soon as you give birth, you put the baby to the nipple and you literally start getting contractions. Like your uterus starts like slowly going back. And I just remember being like, holy fucking shit. Like our bodies are literally perfectly well-oiled machines that just know what the fuck is up. I mean, who's telling the uterus to do this? Like who's like, okay, she's breastfeeding, uterus, contract, 1, 2, 3. Like I just find that to be so amazing. But anyway, when I made that tweet, obviously I didn't know any of that. And I was blissfully ignorant, and I just thought, you know, you just go to the hospital, you give birth, and you walk out a new woman with a cute little accessory. I mean, child. That's what I thought. Until I got pregnant. Now, you know what? I'm going to like give you guys a little background on me. Because if you know me, you know that I'm very intense. And when I am interested in something, I go all in. There's no like middle ground. There's no like, yeah, you know, just give me like a little brief information. Give me the cliff notes. Nah, bitch. I like go deep and I want to know everything. And so that's what happened when I first got pregnant. I just was like, okay, let me research everything I can about what it is that my body is currently doing right this minute, creating a whole ass human life with the help of nobody else but my body and my tissues and my blood cells. So I started doing the research, and I started learning about the hospital situation in America and how effed up it is, where they just really are trying to like get you out of there as quick as possible, and how birth is not meant to be like that. You know, birth is meant to be a lengthy process, because it takes a while for your body to relax, for your hips to open up, for your uterus to contract, for your my cats just like, they're just, why are they so wild at this time?
They want to be in the show, right?
Holy moly. Look, I mean, you guys can't see, but my cats are currently running wild through the living room, which is not the living room, sorry, through my very professional studio set where I record my podcast. Okay. And so I started doing all this research about being pregnant and giving birth, and I came across this documentary called The Business of Being Born. Did you watch it, Gary?
No.
No.
I don't think so, no. What was it?
The Business of Being Born with Ricky Lake.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. This documentary called The Business of Being Born, I think every woman should watch it. I mean, men should watch it too, but you're not giving birth. And so if you're not going to have kids and you don't care, whatever. But women, if you are thinking of at some point in your lives having children, giving birth, whatever, maybe watch this fucking shit. It's going to change your fucking life. It's called The Business of Being Birth. No. The Business of Giving Birth. Exactly that. And it was a documentary created by Ricky Lake. You remember Ricky Lake? Gary, do you remember Ricky Lake?
Remember the show, of course.
Okay, yeah, the talk show host.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was like
okay.
the female Jerry Stringer.
Right. Well, Ricky Lake was more than just that. She was, out here changing the game for talk show hosts across the board, because it used to be just men, and then she came and she was like, but then like there was Oprah, and then there was Cristina. If you're Latin, you know. El show de Cristina, you can't miss that shit. But anyway, Ricky Lake, oh my God, I'm sidetracking. Ricky Lake, after she had her hit show, she had like a really crazy experience giving birth in the hospital the first time around. And then she did her research, and she had a midwife and a doula, and she learned all this shit. So she decided to film a documentary and document her birth and expose a lot of the fucked up shit that goes on in hospitals, and why so many women walk in with these birth plans and walk out with emergency C-sections, because the way it's set up, you're set up to fail as a mother who's trying to give birth vaginally, naturally, as they call it, which most mothers are. They immediately like set you up to fail, because they strap you down to this bed. You have to lay down. You can't walk. You're stuck on an IV. That's it. And then how are your hips supposed to open up for the baby to come out if you're just like laying flat in a bed? Like, you learn all this shit. And I was like, holy shit. I can't believe that I just found all this out, and I'm giving birth in 4 months, and I have to find a midwife. And I decided right then and there, at the tender age of 27, that I was going to have a home birth. And of course, my mom was like, are you fucking crazy? And my sister was like, I guess I'm there, whatever you need. But like, it made sense to me, because I was like, well, this is how they gave birth back in the day. It was like a bunch of women, midwives, nurses. There weren't any men allowed. Men were outside smoking their fucking cigars, like you're doing right this minute. And so it was a woman's job, and women understood women's bodies and understood women's body language, and they would just like gather around and help them get through it, and help them go through labor and deliver the fucking babies. So I watched this documentary, and I'm like, that's it. I have to trust my body. Like, my body was designed for this. My uterus was made to contract and expand and give birth to a whole ass human. But you have to understand that before that, so before I watched this documentary, I was that bitch that tweeted, breastfeeding is disgusting.
Tits are for titty bars, is it?
Tits are for titty bars. Tits are for fucking, not feeding children. That's literally what I didn't think about the female body being a vessel of life and creation and humanity, and
doing it natural.
I mean, that's what we literally are designed to do it that way. Yes, obviously there could be complications and things happen, and something happened to me, and I will get to that after this short tea break. But like, before I got pregnant, before I had kids, I didn't know anything about birthing, know anything. I knew about babies. Like I knew how to change diapers and I knew how to take care of babies because I'm the oldest of 3. So I did my fair share of like bringing diapers, making bottles and stuff like that. But I didn't think about the role that the woman's body plays in this whole situation. So I used to think giving birth was something that was really fucking scary and something that I was trying to avoid as much as possible. Why? My mother's birth story with me is fucking traumatizing. And I've heard it a million times about how my mom never got contractions, how she ended up in the hospital because my grandmother had a hunch, and how they ended up in a emergency C-section because she never dilated. And I was born like a blueberry, purple, because I was choking to death and dying and eating my own poop. And so that was what I knew about giving birth. It was scary as fuck. And then my mom was also traumatized by my grandmother because my grandmother had like the worst birth story ever. They had to use what do you call the claw to get the babies, the forceps it's called, on my mom because my grandma, what, the grips, that's what it's called. I'm asking Gary like he's given birth twice.
I've seen everything once.
So my mom was born with, they had to take her out with the forceps, and my grandma says that in that hospital they called her the lady of the difficult case.
In Spanish.
La señora del caso difícil. That was my grandma. La señora del caso difícil. And so like I just came from a lineage of women who had horrible birth stories. What was I to expect? I was like, oh, this shit sucks. Maybe just like knock me out, general anesthesia, and cut the baby out. Like, that sounds fun. No, I'm kidding. But I really did at one point think that. And then I got pregnant, and then I did all this research. And I went on the hunt for a midwife. And I interviewed this one woman. Shout out to Kim Sum. I love her. I love you. You're just like, will forever be just an amazing person. I mean, she delivered my child. What do you want me to tell you? This woman we have a very intimate relationship. Y'all don't want to know how close she was to my vagina.
She massaging them with avocado oil or something, right?
You're jumping ahead of the game. You're jumping ahead of the story. But Kim, I meet Kim. I go on an interview. So you interview midwives. And in New York State, I believe it is still legal to have home births. But like in New Jersey, it's not, supposedly. Like there's states that it's illegal for you to have home births because they want you to go to the hospital. They want you to charge up the insurance. And C-section is a surgery. That's a lot more money. Jacking up those prices, baby. Healthcare USA. So I go on this interview with this woman named Kim Sum, this Korean woman. We meet at the Barnes and Nobles on 14th Street, which I don't even know if that still exists there. And I just remember from the moment I met her, she's a no bullshit, straight to the point type of woman. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. Because I thought like, oh my God, I don't want to get this midwife that's going to be this like hippie who's going to start chanting and showering me with herbs, and I'm not going to know what's going on. And I'm nervous and I'm scared, and my life is on the line, and my baby's life is on the line. Like I need to find somebody that I'm going to trust with my life. For real. And the moment I met her, I was like, okay, she's great. I love her. She was just like, no bullshit. Like she was like, this is what you need to do. You got to drink this tea. You got to use this, take these vitamins. You got to do this. You got to do like, no bullshit. Like she's not going to let you be like, oh, well, no, actually, I think I want to do this. She's like, no, bitch, I know what's good for you. I know what's good for your baby. I've been doing this for a long time. She's like has traveled the world and given birth to babies in third world countries where she has access. They have access to like no hospitals, nothing. She's given birth to breech babies vaginally. Breech means that the baby never turns. So instead of the head being down here, the head is up here. So they're born butt first or feet first. In America, they would never do that via vaginal. They would immediately do a C-section. Like they just wouldn't even waste time turning the baby or delivering a baby like that. And so you get a C-section for any reason. There's like a million reasons why you would end up having a C-section in a hospital. So I meet Kim. Everything's great. She's preparing me. She's got exercises I need to do. I'm bouncing on a fucking ball. I'm massaging my vagina with oils. I'm doing like all these homeopathic things that are supposed to help my body prepare for this marathon that I'm about to go through at this point, it was like less than 4 months. And, strangely enough, like she also gave me books to read. I read a ton of books. There's one book called Spiritual Midwifery that is amazing. And it is about this woman who I cannot remember her name. Can you pass me the book? It's right there. Spiritual Midwifery. It should be in the blues section. My books are color coordinated. In the light blues. Spiritual Midwifery is about this woman in the 60s and 70s who went around. What's her name? Ina May Gaskin. Guys, this right here. This woman, Ina May Gaskin, revolutionized the birthing world, and she went around driving in a school bus to like hippie communes, helping women give birth. She delivered, I can't tell you how many babies she delivered naturally in hippie communes and school buses. And the book is about the stories of the labor that these women went through and like how it really is like a spiritual journey. And every story, she like tells the stories about how some women were like having a difficult time delivering and the baby wouldn't come out. And it was because like the woman and the husband were like, had an argument. And so the energy was off in the room, and she would like talk it through. She's given birth to, she's helped deliver women who like had orgasms while delivering the baby. Like it becomes an orgasmic experience. It just is this whole spiritual journey. It's not just like you're giving birth to a kid. You're literally like a portal. That's how I think about it. You're a portal from like one realm to this realm, and you're just like bringing forth fucking life. It's really crazy. It's really fucking crazy if you think about it. So I read this book. I read a couple of other books. And she prepares you. She prepares you mentally to be in the right mind space and mental space, and to just like know what you're about to do. So I wasn't nervous and I wasn't scared. And I remember my mom was petrified because my mom ended up I was an emergency C-section, and then the rest of her children were. So she just would like go into the hospital, hook me up, IV, epidural. I don't feel anything, cut me up, stitch me back up. Where's my child? That's it. That my mom never felt a contraction. She never like went through the process of labor. And I know it sounds crazy because labor is the most excruciating pain I've ever felt, except for the foot cast thingy. That was bad. It's a whole other fucking story. Gary had me out here roughing it. Okay, that's a whole other story for another episode of when I had foot surgery. But so labor, the most excruciating pain I've ever felt, but it was also an amazing experience, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. it was just surreal the whole time. Like I couldn't believe what was actually happening. And so when you're in this mindset, like it is something amazing and you're bringing forth a human being, and it's like you take away the medical part because you're not sick, it just becomes this amazing experience. So I prepped. I had a plastic pool, like a kiddie pool filled with water, disinfected, did a little ritual. We gave thanks. We said thanks to the women who gave birth there previously. My sister and I set it up. We picked it up from this woman. She was another head case. So Kim tells me, okay, she tells you everything you need. She tells you everything you need to take, exercises you need to do, teas and foods you need to eat every day. And then she tells you, go pick up this plastic pool from this woman in the Upper West Side. So we meet this woman in the Upper West Side at a storage unit place. Out comes, the show Grace and Frankie? Grace, the hippie one. Out comes this hippie woman wearing like clogs and like flower pants. And she's like, oh, come with me. And like, I looked at my sister like.
Wait, so it wasn't the actual actress?
No, it wasn't the actual actress. It was a woman that looked like her. She was just like, what do you call these people? Away with the fairies?
Away with the fairies. Yeah.
Away with the fairies. We go pick up the pool, and it's just like this big ass it's like 6 feet long, the pool. And so she gives us this big package, and she's like, yeah, you're going to go home. You're going to inflate it, fill it up with water. Here's a thermometer.
I didn't realize that it was a used swimming pool. I thought you bought a brand new one.
Nope, it is
so
used, and then there's a plastic you put over it that gets disposed.
So that's what you meant when you were saying we're going to remember all the women.
She told, so
That
we
makes
go
sense.
pick it up, and and she's like, and this is the plastic. This is like a brand new plastic you put over the pool so that it doesn't, you're not. I mean, obviously, you're not trying to get other people's fluids. But she was like, when you lay it out, like, do a little dance and have a moment of silence to remember the women that have given birth here. And at the time, like, I was like, all right, crazy ass fucking bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, at the time, I wasn't there in my life. Whereas now, I'd be doing some ritual ass shit here with candles and crystals and saging it. But like, I would really be like, I'd sit in the middle of the pool and channel the energy of all of the women who gave birth before me. Like, I would fucking be living in that shit, but I wasn't there at the time. I just was like this really obnoxious, materialistic Upper East Side girl who watched a documentary and was like, I want to give birth at home. I wasn't in the like spiritual mindset that I'm in now. I was like, not that person. So we go home, we have the pool ready, and I'm supposed to set it up when I go into labor, when I start my contractions. Here's a little secret about my labor story. I was a very impatient person. What?
I'm not going to say it. We talked about the 4 P's today, but carry on.
Oh, the 4 P's.
Go ahead, carry on. So,
What are the 4 P's, Gary?
pussy, pretty.
And patience.
No, patience was the 4th one. You've 3 out of 4, remember?
Oh, right. That's right. 3 out of
So it
4.
was pretty,
Pussy. What was the 3rd one?
Pretty, what are you? Think about yourself.
I mean, perfect.
How the fuck did we miss that one? The patience is... You got
Patience,
3 out of 4,
I'm
so
not...
Perfect. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
Yeah.
I interrupted you.
No, that was the 4 P's. I am very impatient. And so when I hit 30 8 weeks pregnant, I couldn't take it anymore. I just could not fucking take it. I was so uncomfortable. I was so over it that I, being the impatient person that I am, found a little discovery that some moms love to use called castor oil. So I did a lot of reading on babycenter.com about castor oil. And it is a sort of like palm tree oil, I believe. And if you drink it while you are pregnant and close to your due date or on your due date or after your due date, you will have extreme diarrhea. So extreme that it irritates your uterus enough to get it to start contracting and thus go into labor. So this is the theory. What?
I was going to ask, so where were you the night that you took the castor oil?
And so I had this whole thing planned out. As a woman without children, I was like, cool. I'll give birth on the, I don't know, say 20th of February, and I'll have a baby. And then next week I can like go out to the bars with my friends again. Like, literally, this is like what I thought in my head. Like, I was just going to give birth to a kid and my life was going to be exactly the same. Nothing would change except that I have this cute kid. So on February 21st, 2011, my dear friend Casey has a birthday that day, and she's having a birthday party at what was called back then Nikki Beach, NYC. So a nightclub. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, no, sure, no problem. I'll be there. I show up 9 months pregnant at this point, wearing the biggest platform heels I owned at the time and this like tight little mini dress. I had the time of my life. It was a day party. It was a brunch. I'm hanging out, and I'm not going to lie, I did have a few sips of wine. And I remember saying to Rachel, like, it's okay. Like, I could have a glass of wine. And then, like, I had a couple sips of wine and I felt like buzzed. And I was like, oh my God, this isn't good. I'm buzzed. Like, if I'm buzzed, the baby's buzzed. This is not good. And so Rachel was just like, hey, listen, the party ended like at 6. And she was like, what are you going to do after this? There's a sale at Barney's. Like, let's go to the Barney's sale. You know, pretty soon you're going to have a baby and I'm never going to see you again. And I was like, I'm sorry, Rach. I actually have to go home and drink some castor oil. She was like, why are you drinking car motor oil? No. I was like, no, castor oil. I'm going to induce my birth. And she was like, that doesn't work. You're crazy. Like, are you sure I can't persuade you to come with me to the Barney sale? I was like, sorry, I'm having a child tonight. She was like, are you like, she looked at me like I was crazy. She was like, what do you mean you're having a child tonight? That's not how that works. Like, you go into labor. I was like, oh no, I'm making myself go into labor. I go home and I drink this castor oil at like around 9 p.m. I'm just like, all right, fuck it. Let's do this. I drink the castor oil at 9 p.m. and I go to sleep. No, I'm sorry, like 12 a.m. or whatever. I go to sleep. 5 a.m, I'm woken up by the craziest contraction ever. And also a trip to the bathroom. So at 5 a.m, the oil is now making my stomach cramp and my intestines cramp. And now I'm running back and forth to the bathroom. TMI, diarrhea, like hell. Like, I was just running back and forth like, oh my fucking God. And at one point I'm sitting in the toilet like, holy shit, this didn't work. It just made me go to the bathroom and that's it. Like, I just keep coming to the bathroom and that's it. shortly after that, like at 6 a.m., the contractions start regularly. And I almost didn't want to believe it. Like, I was like, no, I'm not in labor. This is like a stomach cramp. This is like a little period cramp. I'm not in labor. So I called my midwife. I called my sister. There was a snowstorm that morning. And I called my mom. I call everyone. Call my mom. Call my sister. Call my midwife. I'm like, I'm having a baby today. They were like, no way. I told my midwife, I'm like, my contractions are 5 minutes apart, 7 minutes apart. She was like, all right, I'll be there this afternoon. You're having a baby today. Start setting up the pool. My labor was literally me at home, like naked, walking around, setting up a pool, doing a moment of silence for the women who gave birth in the pool before me. And just like hanging out. I wasn't on any IVs. I wasn't on any monitors. I was just like this free woman hanging out and relaxed in my house. When the contractions would come, yes, they were painful, but manageable. And then little by little, they start increasing in pain and they start getting closer together and they start getting more intense. But because it starts like slowly incrementing, you can handle it. Like, you can handle the pain. At this point, I am just like, I want to say it's like 6 p.m. My midwife checks me. She's like, you're a little dilated, but nothing crazy. Here's what I want you to do. I lived on a 7th floor at the time. She was like, I want you to start going up and down the stairs. And like, you may think, oh, it's no big deal. It's just like a little cardio. Going up and down stairs when you're 9 months pregnant while you're having contractions is no joke. Like, I remember just like perching my hands on my knees and looking at my sister like, I don't think I could do this anymore. Like, I'm tired. But the purpose of that was to open up my hips, and then the walking and the stair climbing helps your cervix dilate, open up from like a tiny little needle hole to like a Cheerio hole to then like a donut hole. What?
It's like easily known you've kids, Cheerios and donuts.
Cheerios and donuts, of course. Well, I mean, those are the examples that they show you. And so then when you're dilated, when you're 10 centimeters dilated, they tell you, okay, you can push. But I wasn't there yet. I'm at home. I'm tired. I'm in the pool. The pool also, the hot water of the pool helped ease the pain of the contractions. So I spent a lot of time there and it was very soothing. I also had this amazing playlist that was like mostly Frank Sinatra songs and like very like relaxing songs. But then by like 9 p.m. So at this point, it's been like a whole day. Since like 12 that I got my first contraction to like now it's 9 p.m. Now I'm tired. Now I'm running out of energy and I'm just like getting impatient. And I'm like, when's this baby going to be fucking born? This is not fun. This was not like the orgasmic experiences I read in spiritual midwifery. Like, what the fuck? My mom is so bored. She's checking her fucking Facebook. And I look at my sister. I'm like, is she on fucking Facebook? Can you go talk to her? Like, my mom wanted nothing to do with the birth because she was so like, I've never done that before. I don't know what that is. I just don't want to be involved. So she was like trying to avoid me and the midwife and my sister at all costs. So then finally I start to feel this urge to go poop. And I'm like, all right, I feel like I need to poop. So let me go poop before I give birth to my child. And my midwife was like, no, that means it's time to push. And I was like, no, it's like in the butt. area. It's like my butthole. I know what I'm talking about. I have to go poop. I'll be back. And she was like, all right, be my guest. And I sit in the toilet and I'm just like, I guess it's not poop. It's like, now I'm feeling like a head not coming out, but like I'm feeling like the pressure. So I'm like, okay, let's go do this. In my perfect world, I wanted to give birth in the pool and have the baby swim out like a beautiful dolphin and look up at me and smile and wink and be like, I'm here. But that's not how that happened at all. And I thought I was just going to look beautifully misted with like the glow of a new mother, and that I was just going to have this like beautiful glowing energy about me. It was not like that. So by the time I have to start pushing, no position is working. And from everything I read in our book, Spiritual Midwifery, from Ina May Gaskin and Ricky Lake, laying down on your back and pushing like they do in traditional hospitals is possibly the worst position for your hips to let the baby out. It's like trying to pull a door that says push. That's exactly what it's like when you're trying to give birth in this position. So what they recommend is either you get on all fours or you squat. And the squatting looked really interesting to me. I was like, I think I'm a squatter. I think that's going to be the one for me. And what's great about birth is that everything you think is the one for you is not. And like every plan you have in your head of how it's going to happen, it doesn't. So I'm pushing, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by, and like nothing is fucking happening. All that is happening is that I'm crowning. So if you don't know what crowning is, I will demonstrate. This is the hole, right? At this point, yes, is it this stretched out? Possibly. And when you're crowning, it just means the baby's head is right there. I don't know if they could see this there, but just pretend that this is the hole. And the baby's head is there. And so like, you know when you're putting on a turtleneck? And your head is like right over here. You're like going through, popping your head through the turtleneck. That's what crowning is. But if you don't push hard enough, the turtleneck goes back up. And the baby's goes back inside. And that, when you're crowning like that and the baby's head is like, about to come out, it's called the Ring of Fire. It's a lovely name. Gary's face. Yeah, but you've seen it. It's called the Ring of Fire. It's a lovely name because it so accurately describes how that feels. And so I just remember being stuck in the Ring of Fire for about an hour. And at that moment, I said to myself, why am I here? Why am I not in a fucking hospital getting an epidural needle in my fucking eyeball? Like, just stick it in the eyeball and take away this pain. It was such unbearable pain and I was so tired. So like the baby would crown and the head would come out and then it would go back in because I wasn't pushing hard enough. And my midwife was like, you got to push from the stomach. Like you got to like really like push, like do a deep push. But I didn't have any energy. I had been up almost for 24 hours. And then, they're checking the baby's heartbeat. And she was like, look, the baby's heartbeat has dropped. So now I really need you to like buck down and fucking do this shit. But she was like, there's a piece of the cervix that's like on the baby's head and it's not allowing him to fully come out. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go in there and pull the piece of the cervix off of his head while you push the baby out. So while the baby's coming out, she's coming in and pushing the piece off. It was a lot of fun. I thought I was going to die. Like, I was just like, I kept looking at Melissa. I was like, just call an ambulance. Just call the ambulance. And I couldn't even like, I had no energy. I was just like, just call the ambulance. I give up. I can't do this. This is not for me. So finally, you know, she scares me because she's like, the baby's heart rate is low. He needs to come out now. He's now under some distress. You really need to buck down and get energy from I don't know where. I remember I ate like a protein bar at one point. So I was like, all right, at this point, this is the position that I'm in. And I'm going to give you guys the visual. Now I'm laying on my back because we tried every position and he wasn't coming out. And it was the best position for the midwife to kind of come in and fix that little lip of cervix that was impeding the baby from coming out. My legs are up like this. My sister is behind me holding one leg. And the midwife calls my mom and she was like, Mommy, I need you here front row. And makes my mom come right up to my vagina and hold this other leg back. So my mom had like front row seats. I got both legs up like this. The baby's crowning. And I hear the midwife say to my mom, oh, look, that's the baby's hair. You could touch the hair. They were like touching Ryder's curls while I was like this. And then she was like, okay, give it all you got on this last contraction. And I made this sound that I've never heard again. But it sounded like a car that doesn't start. And it's like a... And like it doesn't start. So you like try it again and you're like... And like that was the sound, the beautiful sound that came out of me when I was giving birth. And I was just like... What the fuck? This is not like the beautiful fairy world in a mushroom I envisioned. This is like some crazy cave woman in a cave with some like, I don't know. What's the insurance guy's name?
Jake?
No, not Jake, the caveman.
Fucking Jake.
Not Jake. The caveman. So easy a caveman can do it.
That's the Geico, isn't it?
Is it Geico? But like the caveman. I just like pictured the sounds I was making and the position I was in. It was nothing. It was nothing like beautiful and flowery about that. It was like raw and edgy and crazy. So finally, Ryder entered the world. And I just remember, like, I look down. My legs are, like, up here. My legs are, like, behind my ears at this point. And I look down, and she's like, grab him. The midwife was like, grab him. And I grabbed this little baby worm and pulled him up and just, like, bloop, put him on my chest. And I just like looked at his face and he was so swollen and red. He looked like a piece of ham. It's like, oh my God, what is this? My mom was crying. My sister was crying. And I was so tired that I couldn't even like cry. I just like didn't even have energy in me. He was crying. The midwife was crying. The baby's crying. My mom's crying. Everyone's crying. And I'm just like, am I done? Am I done? Is the placenta out? I had done so much research that I knew my birth story was not done. Even though the baby was born, I'm like, now this bitch has to squeeze my stomach till this fucking placenta comes out. Sure enough, she straddles you and she's like, look, this isn't going to be fun. I'm like, well, what part has been? But on your next contraction, tell me when you're having the contraction and I'm going to push and you're going to do like a little mini birth of that organ you created to feed your child. So you give like a second birth to that placenta and that comes out. But I will say this. Okay. So from that whole story, here's what I took. I was in the comfort of my home. I was under the supervision of two very professional, amazing women, the midwife and her nurse who was assisting her. She had every tool that you could possibly need to deliver a baby. And she has every scenario down and she's prepared for any scenario. So like if at any given moment, she has to be like, we're jumping in a hospital. She has connects and contacts with ambulances, hospitals, the nearest hospital, everything. Like she's prepared. So I never felt nervous about like something wrong happening or something going wrong. I just was so tired, but it was an amazing experience. And 10 minutes after I gave birth, I was sitting on my bed eating a bagel like nothing fucking had happened. Oh, I forgot the massage part. While I'm crowning and during the Ring of Fire, she was massaging my perineum. So like the big hole and the little hole.
Your gooch.
What's that?
Your gooch.
What's that? What?
Between your ass and your balls, no?
Yes. Well, I don't have balls, so.
Do you know how
She slowly massages that because the skin is like stretching and stretching and stretching. So she slowly gives it these like gentle massages with avocado oil. Was it avocado oil or coconut oil? But she's like slowly massaging it. So even though I pushed for 2 hours and Ryder was an 8.5 pound baby with the biggest head I've ever seen on a newborn, I did not tear. I didn't need any stitches. Everything down there just kind of went back to normal. I never had any issues because I wasn't rushed. Everything was so slow. Like she really took her time. She was so patient about it. So that's what I took away from that. Like I was like, okay, this is great. I just gave birth in my house. I'm in the comfort of my home. My friends and my family came to see me right away. I mean, I was just chilling in my house like nothing. Fast forward to 4 years after that with Axel's pregnancy. I'm thinking in my head, all right, everything's going to be the same. I'm going to go to Kim again. Kim, Sam, and I start doing the same thing. It's amazing. She's doing all the prenatal visits in my house. She comes to the house and we're preparing Ryder. Ryder's going to be in the room with us. And like, it's just going to be this amazing experience. Gary's going to get to experience this, which is like bliss. And I'm like, you're going to love it. It's amazing. We're going to have a pool. We're going to do the whole thing. And time out. Okay. So that was my short story, long birthing story. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Twitter. Send me DMs on my Instagram at Butterfly Mush. You can also write me your oracle questions. You can email me at butterflymush@gmail.com. Check out my Patreon where I do personalized art. Check out episodes 1, 2, and 3. On YouTube. Check them out on YouTube. And like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. The bell over here. Where is it? Down below. Comment down below. Let me know your crazy birth story. Is it crazier than mine? Did you take castor oil? I want to know. Comment below if you took castor oil. Also, comment below if you have any birthing questions. I mean, I'm here to answer it all. I am here to share it all. And that is it. See you next time.